What's up, everybody? It is yours truly, Lamorticina, founder of the Kool Spot. I'm super excited about today's interview with our very own Curtis L. Jr. coming live right here in the Triangle of North Carolina. Today we are talking about how we're going to fill in the gaps. Now, just want to let you guys know that business is a broad spectrum. There's so many different avenues to touch base dealing with business. But today we want to narrow it down to hopefully help you guys out. Me as an innovative, and also Curtis L. Jr. as another innovator, running side by side. We're going to be discussing some of the things that we have done. We want to put more focus on Inkspired so he can let you guys know how you guys can support, follow, and definitely share the good works that he's putting out into the community. All right, so Curtis, what's up, brother? How you feeling today, bro?
Doing all right, man. What about yourself?
I'm well, man. I'm pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good. Just enjoying this good weather today, man, and really looking forward to the rest of this week, really, because it's been really ugly dealing with all this rain and everything. So you know how the body kind of reacts when it gets all muggy outside and different things.
Oh, so, man, that's a mental thing, bro. That's a mental thing.
Yeah. So, but today, man, I want to put more focus on you, how people can support you. Also dealing with bridging the gaps in business. We've done a lot of different things. I followed you. When did we meet? We met last year, the beginning of last year, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it may have been a little bit further back than that. I think it was in 2018. I know I met you at the off of Rock Quarry Road. DS was having an event there. Yeah, I met you back then. Yeah, it's been a minute ago.
Yeah, that's right. Shame on me when he was doing press play out there on Rock Quarry Road. You're right. You're right. I totally. Yeah. So, but I've been following you, man, since you've really been moving with Inkspired, man. And I gotta first off, I'm one to give people their roses while they're still here, man. So, being that you've been moving and you've been shaking, you've been doing so much, bro. I want to commend you for just how fast you've been growing in the community, all the different ventures that you've been a part of, the partnerships, and just everything that you've been doing, man. So I want to give you these roses, bro, because I feel like as artists and as innovators, it's really important to really have supporters, that understands the process that we have to go through in order to go from having a concept and bringing that concept into reality, So it's motivation, it's fuel to the fire when people recognize the good works, the hard works. You know what I mean? We look at it as hard works. Other people look at it as good work. But I don't think people kind of understand the difference between the two. You know what I'm saying? The good work is the end result, but going through it is the hard parts. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man. So let's talk a little bit, man, because I'm an avid follower of like Elon Musk, right? I love Elon Musk. You know what I'm saying? I follow the movement. He is a leader of innovation. You know what I'm saying? And some of the things that he did, man, like, well, let me just stick with something that he said I came across here recently. I found out that he publicized all of his patents, and I know a lot of people are like, well, what about patent protections and stuff like that? The brother said, man, I'm not worried about patent protections, and for two reasons. So the first one is because he wants to create a stable competitive market, right? A stabilized competitive market. So he freely gives his information out. Like everything that he's been doing is freely given out to the public where you could actually recreate his patents. And he gives you everything that you will need. You know what I mean? So he wants to create a competitive market. That's his first thing. The second thing that he did was he said that patent protection isn't too important for him. Of course, they have different guidelines and different things that they want to make sure they protect first. But the thing that he put more focus into is saying, well, if you're not consistent in being an innovator, then you have a problem. You know what I'm saying? And I bring that up because when I heard it, I thought of you. And I was like, yo, this is Curtis, right? This is SP right here. You know what I'm saying? Because like, it's always something different. And being that we're filling in the gaps, we're forecasting. I guess we can use fill in the gaps, but I also consider it like forecasting, you know.
Indeed.
Yeah, so like Blockbuster, for example, you know what I mean? Blockbuster, they were on top of their game, you know what I mean? And then they just fell off. You're right. Yeah, so when streaming, when online streaming came about, they fell off because they didn't want to follow that and felt like that would be too expensive to follow. You know what I'm saying? When they were already on top of their game, Xerox were killing it in the computer world. You know what I'm saying? But then they fell off because they didn't want to change with the time. You know what I mean? Kodak was another one. They fell off because they felt like they didn't want to lose. Well, that's Nokia, but Kodak fell off because they felt like, you know, the pressure of losing a lot of their customers. You know what I'm saying? And with the technology changes and all of that. Then you got Kodak is another one. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just a lot of different ones, bro. Like people that we grew up knowing that were on the front line, a lot of them no longer exist because they didn't see the forecasting coming. They didn't check the forecast and gauge the business strategy based off of the forecast and make these changes. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we'll be talking about today and just building on those principles and to see if maybe we can help some people out, man. If the least at least inspired or Inkspired, right?
Inkspired. There we go. Hey, at least you ain't say ink inspired.
Ink is right.
Yeah, they'd be killing me with that one.
Yeah, ink inspired. Right. So let's talk about who is Curtis, man. Let's get some background on who you are today, bro. Let's talk about you for a minute.
Cool. Before we do that, can you see it on Facebook on yours?
I see it showed that it's recording, but the cover, there it is. There it is. It's on now. I don't know if the cover been on, but it shows that I can hear it. It's on. We good. We good. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I'll share it with you again.
Curtis, man. I mean, I'm a pretty simple guy. I'm pretty laid back, pretty chill. Grew up a basketball head, sports fanatic. Love basketball. Love competition. I grew up with a lot of reading, playing chess, so things of that nature where I kind of was able to be in my own mind. And so I kind of grew into this, I guess, this adult, if you will, that's really reserved for the most part. I have been out in the, I guess, public eye, if you will, since Inkspired started, but I'm pretty laid back and a really behind the scenes type of person, but I'm a thinker, also a doer, but I definitely live in my head, man. Right.
Absolutely. And I think that's living in your head isn't a bad thing. I think a lot of people, like when you, for me, let me speak about myself. I try to make sure I speak for myself and speak about me instead of talking about other people. But so like when I had this idea of the Kool spot, right? It was just a thought. I didn't have anything in motion at the time. And, you know, I had just, my circle's really big, but it's dramatically thin. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm an artist, so that's, you know, we think like that, right? So it's dramatically thin, bro. And when I shared it with the people that was closest to me, they didn't understand it. They were like, well, you're a creative. Like, why would you invest your time into doing all of that to give free information when you could be focusing on getting money off bat, right? And I'm like, well, first, it was two things crossed my mind. The first thing that crossed my mind was, okay, well, should I explain this to this person? Because I feel like this person is a vital person that should understand. You know what I'm saying? So is it that important for me to go out my way to explain to hopefully this person will understand? Or is this person even worth explaining it to, right? So like for me, when I
got a note on that. We'll get to that.
Okay, we'll get to that. Yeah, that's one of the questions. Good deal. So one of the things that I dealt with, bro, was trying to explain myself when the vision wasn't even fully there. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a thought. And my thing was, I felt like, okay, am I going crazy? Am I just only in my own head? Am I the only one seeing this? And at the end of it all, yes, I was in my own head and I was the only one seeing this. And now that it's in fruition, we're working it, the process, and there's phases, there's tiers. from short terms to long terms. You know what I'm saying? I got goals set now by August. I should be here doing ABC dot dot dot, and then after August, I'm working toward the long term goals, which is nonprofit status, all kind of different things. You know what I'm saying? And so, but what are your thoughts though, man? Let's just go ahead and go there since we're there, right? What are your thoughts dealing with that as far as who should we talk to? When do we disclose the vision, and who should we share it with?
Man, so for me, I think it's important to share the vision with people around you that think like you do. One, I think it's very important because there's a type of synergy that's there when you're with one or two or more people who you're on the same wavelength with, and that think on a high level, if you think on a high level.
Right.
But I also think a lot of people, they say, man, don't share your dreams and aspirations with people who, some people say, who are below you, or people that they may deem as haters, or people who are naysayers. But I think they're important too.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not a fuel thing. I know a lot of people use, the nose and stuff as fuel. For me, it's more so, if somebody's telling you you can't do something, then I want to know why they think I can't do it. Because what that does is that gives me a possible hole in my plan or in my forecast, to use your word, that I hadn't necessarily thought about before. So maybe that's something I need to hone in on and possibly pay more attention to, because other people think that it won't work. So if I can fix that hole or those potholes, then it may work a little bit better.
Absolutely. I like that, man. And something I shared a while back, I said where a person see you going can just be the limitations that person is trying to place on you. You know what I'm saying? Right. So if you can only see me taking the Kool spot and getting to only step 2 in it, and then after that, that's it, then that's what the limitation that you're trying to put on me, or that you can see. You know what I'm saying? And that if you're sharing it with me, then and not directly, but more of an indirect sense, then it's like, if I value your opinion, then I got to take what you say and at least consider it to be true. So now I got to process that. And in my mind, it's like, well, is he right? Do I see beyond this point? Can I actually execute and produce? And now I have to take what you just said and I need to see, where could this go wrong? What could I, what I mean? And start working it out exactly like you just said, but that's dope, bro. That's dope. Now, one thing that I appreciate about you, man, is we were supposed to connect last year when I was doing a talk show, and I was super excited. I was super excited.
I was too.
Yeah. So, and that was the thing that really brought me back to this point to say, hey, listen, this is the new venture. This is what I'm doing. Boom, I need you to be a part of this, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because I really appreciated the joy and excitement. It wasn't just me, and part of the reason for that is because we were both doing our thing at that time. I was doing events, you were doing events. I believe, you were doing events at that time and everything. And although we're competitors, it was a thing where it was like, hey, how can we help each other out at the same time? You know what I'm saying? How can we share amongst a broader spectrum so people could understand differently? In that, although, I'm doing my thing over here, you're doing your thing over there, it didn't stop us from coming together. You know what I mean? So I appreciated that. I appreciated that, man. That's definitely something I had to add to just me handing you your flowers while you're still kicking. You know what I mean? To hopefully keep giving you that boost. Genuine, brother. I was talking to somebody about you, man, and I said, man, Kurt dope. You know what I mean? Kurt dope, man. I appreciate the brother. So
the question is, did they say the same thing?
I mean, from what I was told, From what I was told, You know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely. And but Inkspired, man. Let's talk about Inkspired. Like, what was the concept behind Inkspired, and how did that come about?
Simple story, man. I really kind of had an opportunity to kind of go a few different ways with some things that I wanted to do. I was getting heavy into poker.
Okay.
I've
Oh,
gotten
wow.
pretty good at that. I've been traveling around in previous years playing poker, and so
Okay.
I just kind of was looking at my year coming into 2018, and decided I wanted to actually do something with my poetry. I was supposed to have put out a book titled Inkspired, which is where the actual show Inkspired name came from.
Right,
But
right.
I was supposed to have put out a book about 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago now. The book was finished. It was ready to go. I just, life got in the way, things happened, and I just kind of threw it to the back burner. And so I figured I would put out my book in 2018. And then I kind of was thinking, I'm like, man, I don't know. That's kind of boring, like right
Right.
now. Like, I really wanted to do something to spice it up a little bit more. So I decided I wanted to have a show. And so
Okay.
really that's where everything came from with Inkspired. And then the concept of it just kind of came basically because I knew that I didn't want to perform the poetry. That wasn't something I was interested in doing. And
Right.
so then it just became this thing of me writing down and figuring out how to have a show without getting on stage.
Right, right, right. Gotcha. Yeah, man. I think, I love the idea, the concept behind Inspired. Being that you're a silent poet, I thought that was dope. And when I watched some of your videos and different things that you do and on YouTube, you shared on YouTube and on your Facebook page and different things, your website, the bios and all that, I said, oh man, this is dope. It's different. Because I'm an artist too, so like for me, it's like, okay, well, he's doing this, and this is dope, but I've never seen anybody, and I live in a small world, so I've never seen anybody, right? I've never seen anybody that's writing something and other people perfect it to perform it for the writer.
Right.
And I said, yo, that is fire, and the other caveat to that was the fact that your events were like elegant events, like people dressed down and people coming out there feeling good about themselves, and you guys bringing out the stretch everything's, you know what I'm saying? Y'all pulling up in, and I'm just like, yo, this is phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? So like, when I was watching, because I'm a watcher. I don't see a lot of the times, and when I was watching, I was like, yo, just watching other people that were doing things, including myself, and seeing like it's a competitive market. We're going to be real today. You know what I mean? It's a competitive market.
Right.
So the whole idea is learning how to master bridging the gap or filling in the gaps. That's proper forecast. And the way that you executed it was so superb, bro. Like it really put a dent in the game. You know what I'm saying? And I said, yo, he's definitely working. He's serious. And that's what I respect.
Right.
I love stuff like that. I love anybody that's doing it. And because again, I'm super hard on myself. And a lot of the things that I've done have been from just me watching other people and me forecasting, like we're talking about now, learning how to bridge in the gaps. And I think my thing was having a team. Like, so what are your thoughts about like the importance of a team when it comes to executing? How can we help people understand the importance?
It's actually, it's funny you bring that up. I didn't think we were going to talk about that, but I actually spoke on that at the end of my last show.
Okay.
Once I got on stage, I always addressed the crowd, and I talked about how the most important thing is you have to help yourself first.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so once you help yourself, and once you get the ball rolling to do the things that you know how to do, then you start coming across those people who will be a part of your team. I don't have a large team. To be quite honest with you, Crystal, most people know as Crystal the Muse. I call her Max. So I refer to her as Max. But Max is the only team member that I have of SP Endeavors, if you will.
Okay.
That is in the day-to-day operation of everything.
Yeah.
But around that, we also do have a team of people, of volunteers, other day of coordinators that have come on, and that's super important to help whatever you're doing run well, because unless you can do everything, and even if you can, you don't necessarily want to all the time, but unless you can do all these various things, you're going to need other people that can do it.
Absolutely.
The one time that I did try to run the door at an event, not an Inkspired event, but one of my other events, I screwed up and wound up having to refund somebody the money.
Oh man. Right.
So, you know, we got M, we got TC, we got Vernon.
Yeah.
Those are our steady people who run our door, and they do a great job of it.
Nice.
We have people who serve the VIP. I'm not going to be serving VIP during Inkspired. You know, Crystal's not going to be doing that.
Right.
So we have people that do that. So I think the team is super important, but I think a lot of times people allow not having a team to stop them from starting. And I think that's where the mistake is. I think you start first, and then once people see that you're serious, once people see that you're making some headway, and have some confidence about yourself, then they'll jump on board.
Yeah. I agree with that too, man. And I thank God for Free, the poet, because she's been my right hand man like through this journey. And we've worked together before. Last year I was going to do like an all white business gala. You know what I'm saying? And that was April. You know, April last year it was jumping. It was like who was they had about eight different artists that was going to be, and mainstream artists that was going to be in North Carolina.
Right.
Dreamville was one of the biggest. Yeah, that was a big month, bro. That was a big month. And Dreamville was that month. It was a lot. Little Boosie was in Fayetteville. David Banner was in Durham. There was a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I postponed, and I was like, all right, well, you know what? Let me see what other areas I can kind of work into, you know what I mean? Until the timing is right to bring that back, you know? So that's definitely going to be one of the things when the economy opens back up after phase 3, and if things are safe, although I don't believe that we'll have a second wave, I feel like of this COVID situation, I feel like, you know, it's just going to be a re-strengthening of what's already been there. You know what I'm saying? Because it never left. But that's a whole nother discussion, man. And so yeah, but yeah. So and I agree with what you said, man. Because again, now I have people that are like, "Yo, I like what you're doing, whatever." And I'm just like, "Cool," but you know, we have to be very selective in how we spend our time, where we spend that time, and all of that. You know. Like, so in this crisis, since I brought it up, would you agree that people should be taking advantage of this time that we have to start a home-based business? Would you agree with that?
So
I mean, at least the steps to getting started and start working towards something.
So from a personal standpoint, I think we should always take advantage of the time that we have, whether it's a crisis or not.
Right.
But I have had some conversations with people, and I've kind of noticed people putting certain things up online where they're talking about how you know, it's a pandemic and it's okay not to do anything right now. And I've kind of come around on that a little bit, where I don't think it's necessary for people to grind, if you will, during this particular time. I guess my thing that comes in is if you're not grinding, or if you're not starting that business, or if you're not furthering the business you already have during this particular time, then what you can't do is use that as an excuse later,
right?
Or complain about the fact that you're not necessarily where you want to be.
Right.
I know myself, we canceled the March 28th Inkspired about 2 weeks before the show was supposed to hit.
Right.
And from that point on, for about 45 days, I pretty much didn't do anything. Now I wrote some, but I was pretty much in house, just making sure the zombies didn't come out.
Right.
but I didn't do a whole lot. But what I'm not gonna do is, you know, when December gets here, I'm not gonna complain about what I didn't do the second half of March or April. Now I'm about to start. I've been starting to bust my butt now, but yeah, I'm okay with people kind of knowing themselves and being who and what they are in that moment, even with a pandemic or a crisis going on.
Yeah. I just, you know, I'm a really big believer that, you know, there's a really, really big opportunity right here, and if we're not taking advantage of it, then we're going to miss it, man. We're going to miss a whole lot of great opportunities to just at least have something started. Because if you haven't noticed yet, which I'm sure you have, being that you're a forecaster like me, it's the year, bro. We're already at the halfway point. You know what I
Oh man,
mean?
listen. In January, man, once January 5th get here, I'm like, yeah, the year
Right.
almost over.
Right. And that's the thing. Like I'm looking at that now, and I'm just like, yo, man, we're already at the halfway point. So let's just say if I go ahead and plant the seed now, if I plant the seed now by and so because it just seemed like the year just started. So if I plant the seed now,
Right.
from my perspective at least, maybe because of the kind of work that I do, I'm an essential worker, and I kind of got to stay out there, and my days go by really, really quick. So if I plant the seed now, by August, I should at least be in the phase 1. You know what I mean? And by let's say September, October, I should be at the end of phase 2. You know what I mean? And if there's different phases or tiers, let's say for a new business owner, I think that if we start now, by the end of the year, because it's going to go before you know it. So by the end of the year, by December, we should at least be ready to launch, or if not have already launched by December. You know what I'm saying? Or at least January. So I think right now was a prime time to start and to think of something. And if we're not following what people are doing and how we can actually grow and expand, then people think it's hard now. We see what the consequences are when you don't have something in place where you could actually make a little bit of residual income. So from there, what's next year going to look like if another pandemic or crisis hit? Then we scrambling for something else to do and try to figure out, well, how's the government going to help me now? Well, what if the government can't help you the second time around? You know what I'm saying? And again,
or it doesn't want to.
Or it doesn't want to, right. And again, this crisis never left. So there is no such thing as a second wave. It's just a reoccurring situation that's going to be strengthened next time, because now we're volunteering ourselves to get out into the open. So again, this is forecasting. So if we're going to volunteer ourselves to be placed in the open, more and more people are going without masks right now. So, okay, well, if they say, well, hey, we're in phase 2 right now, within another month, we may be at phase 3. Boom, we good. Let's take these masks off and throw them away. No, sir. You know what I'm saying? So it's just not time for that. And I think we have to be able to safeguard our household and ourselves first. And until we're able to do that, then, I feel like, yes, it's a necessity. Take advantage. Take advantage, man. Take advantage, So
one of the ways. Go ahead. My bad.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about one of the ways I decided to do that, since we're on that topic. Is so Inkspired, the book I spoke on, was supposed to have been out, years and years ago, and never came out. But I had planned on dropping that book later this year, actually in November. And so then once COVID hit, that kind of threw everything off base for how I wanted to actually do it. And so I was, here at the house, and I'm like, all right, I can't drop my book this year. It's going to not be till next year, blah, blah. But then I was thinking, like, yo, I may not drop that particular book, a physical copy, but I can actually drop a book. So what I did was I started researching, because the term that came to my mind was an Instagram chat book. And so I was like, I wonder if anybody's ever actually dropped a book just on Instagram, in their feed, in their story, just uninterrupted, straight through, all at one time. And so I couldn't find it. Not saying nobody's, has never done it before, but I couldn't find it. And so what I decided to do was write one. I reached out to an artist who I had been following for a while, who lives in London, and asked him, could I use some of his photos? I told him I wasn't going to be selling anything. It'd be online. He said, yeah, sure. And so, boom, I took his photos, wrote some poems, 30 poems that I wrote, and I dropped a book called Die in Paris Again. And I dropped it right on Instagram, had a couple of weeks build up to it, where I kind of was pushing it online, and got a lot of feedback and engagement from doing it. I mean, everything from phone calls to text to DMs, comments, shares, everything. It's been something that I'll now continue to use moving forward, not just to get work out there, which is great, but I'll also be able to use that as a promotional tool for upcoming shows as well, because it builds engagement. So those are some of the things that that people can kind of tap into and just start thinking outside the box about something that they were going to do anyway during this particular time.
Yeah, that's fire, man. That's fire. And TD Jake said, you can be busy but non-effective. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people have a lot of ideas, and we're trying to scramble around to try to figure out where to start first, what to do next. How do I at least get started? What would be your advice as far as getting started? How do you project manage? It would be a good question to ask.
So, and I got my little note. I'll tell you, I got some notes.
I got a note tag. There it is.
And as soon as you hear the question, I got an answer.
There you go.
So the first thing I think when you're starting is to identify gaps is you need to identify the gaps within yourself.
Right.
I think that's the most important thing before you look outward, is to figure out what you can't do or what you're not willing to do.
Okay.
Because then that'll allow you to put together a blueprint and an outline, if you will, that then will allow you to move into the research framework of everything.
Right.
Obviously, you have to know your industry, or at least have some basic information on it.
Yeah.
And so once you have that basic information, then you kind of dive into what other people are doing, how they're doing it, where they're doing it, how much they're charging for it.
Yeah.
You could be a chef, and obviously I'm a poet, so we're talking about Inkspired, but if we move it outside of the arts world or the poetry world, you could be a chef, but maybe you don't plate food well.
Right.
Well, you can't be a 5-star chef and run a restaurant if your food isn't plated a certain way.
Right.
You may be a lawyer, but you don't organize your paperwork well. It's going to be a mess. You may be, Johnny Cochran in the courtroom, but you know that you're going to need an assistant that can organize all your paperwork so that you're good to go.
Right.
So I think the first place, like I said, is to start with knowing the gaps within you. Then from there, you want to have basic information about the field that you're in. And then you want to start with your in-depth research to find out who's doing what, where they're doing it, how they're doing it, how much they're charging for it. But I think that's really where you start at.
Okay. Nice. Now I see there's a question by Tiffany Jones. Thank you, Free. There's a question by Tiffany Jones. Says, I've found that all social media platforms are helpful ways to be creative. Tell us some other tools, which platforms other than IG that you use to keep your audience interested. And I mean, I can start that off. And I'm growing into this because the Kool spot is actually about 3 months old right now. Probably a little bit older than that. Okay. It's about 3 months old. I found Facebook really being the main one because it's the easiest to really interact once you understand a little bit about the algorithms. And I'm trying to master one at a time. So what I ended up doing, and I don't really have a solid answer for that, right? But my response to that is learn the algorithms in whatever social media platform that you're going to. Right now, I'm learning Facebook. And if you notice, I do discussion posts during the week. Okay. And during the week, if you look at discussion posts, like I think that the reason why they work so well is because it's affiliated to my Kool Spot community page, right? So I share. It's kind of twisted in a way, and I'm learning, and I'm trying to understand why this happens like this. But what I learned was I get more engagements on my personal page rather than the community page. So although I'm trying to bring more people over to the community page, which is the Kool Spot page, it's just really hard. So everybody from my personal page responds, but I also attach my location from the Kool Spot page. So when I respond to people's comments, it's the Kool Spot page's response. And the reason why I think that it works is because the Kool Spot page is a page for community engagements. So based off of what was written in the about section and the type of post that I'm sharing on that is all circulated around the Kool Spot. You know what I'm saying? And it's all circulated about my goals and my objectives as far as building a community and how I want to engage. You know what I'm saying? Using podcasting. What are the things I'm doing? I'm going to be doing vlogging. I'm going to be doing lectures starting next month. We have a debate lined up next month. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 people that's going to be a part of a debate that I've put together. I have just different things that I'm working towards when it comes to this Kool spot thing. So again, for me, I think it works. It works, but I still don't fully understand it. And I'm the type of person, I don't want to invest all this time into Facebook without understanding it first before moving to the next platform and trying to figure that out. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I can't give you a direct answer, but I would just say master a social media platform one at a time before you move on to the next one. So wherever is the easiest, start there. And then move over to, let's say, YouTube. YouTube is a phenomenal platform if you learn how to do ads and marketing on YouTube. Phenomenal. You can reach, I think, a greater response on YouTube if you learn how to master that rather than Facebook. But that's just in me, you know what I'm saying? So that's my response to that.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
All right. So I think that any platform that has or is about to reach mass scale is good, because you literally, and most platforms, like there's different content that's on Twitter than people normally put on Facebook. Just like the content on TikTok is kind of different, is way different than the content that's on LinkedIn.
Right.
But I think what you can do as you're learning this one platform, you can actually take content that you use for Facebook and you can spread it along Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, et cetera.
Right.
And then what you do is you wind up finding out what type of engagement you get from those platforms. Because with the algorithms, like you know Facebook algorithm pretty well.
Yeah.
Well, the algorithms on all these sites change a lot. Right now, there is no algorithm, quote unquote, on TikTok. So you're seeing a lot of new people. You get a new account and you can put something on TikTok and you can go viral, have 50, 100,000 views like that, because it's young, and so they don't want to limit the audience right now.
Right.
So I say use any platform that you're comfortable with, and especially paying attention to those new platforms that have gotten over 1 billion users. I mean, if there's 1 billion people on it, then that that tells you something. The other thing I'll throw in real quick is I feel like pulling from those platforms into something that you control. Like the Kool spot is your website and you control that.
Right.
I have a website as well, but my main thing is my text message list.
Right.
I control my text message list. I control what content I put out there, and it gets directly to people. There's no algorithm with my text message list. So if I have 400 odd people like I do right now on my text message list, I know it's going to get to 400 and some odd people's phones.
Right.
Versus if I have however many Instagram followers I have and I put out a post, only maybe 300 may see it.
Right.
But you're fighting with everybody else's attention there versus it just getting directly to them.
Right. That's good. And Eventbrite offers a lot of tools too. Thinking about it, while you're talking about the text messages, they offer a lot of tools that you can use directly from your mobile device, your website browser, or just your laptop if that's the only thing that you work with. Like they have a tool for everything, Eventbrite. Now, some of them, for the good ones, you got to pay for. You have to pay the premium cost for it, but for the most part, they have just about everything up there. What did she say? I have also learned that doing more brand ambassador posting helps small businesses. That is true. And being that we're both visionaries and innovators, hey, we're always down to build the ambassador team now. You know what I'm saying? So hey, if we can get an ambassador team together, hey, it'll be great. It'll be great. So that's definitely a good idea. And I appreciate Tiffany Jones. That's dope. I'm definitely going to consider that. TikTok. Are they getting, because I know people are going viral on TikTok, but are they actually getting paid off of TikTok like Instagram and all of that? and like Twitter and
I don't
Facebook?
think that I don't think they're getting paid yet, but it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Because anytime you have
Oh,
mass consumer attention in one place, advertising dollars is going to follow.
yeah,
So I
true.
think what happens is, like, we look at people who, had these massive YouTube and Instagram following. Well, a lot of those people, not all of them, but a lot of those people were just people who were there first
Yeah,
and pumped out massive amounts of content that people enjoy. So the
right.
people right now who are pumping out all that content on TikTok, whether it be them dancing, whether it be poetry, because there is a lot of poetry on TikTok, believe it or not,
Yeah,
or whatever it is, those people are going to be the people who have the real estate, if you will, on TikTok, so that when it actually starts maturing
hmm
and getting to the point where there's advertising dollars pumped into it, they're going to be the first in line to get that.
right. No, that's fire. That's fire, man. Tiffany Jones says, I believe that I had a good friend advise me to create a TikTok for my daughter, and that platform allowed my daughter to book her first commercial. Okay. Hey,
All right.
awesome, awesome. First commercial with a small film company. So you all right. Thanks. Nice. I think that's phenomenal. My camera gonna keep cutting out like every 30 minutes or so. But I'm still learning this stuff, man. Hey, you know what? And that's the other thing too. Like, you don't have to be a master of the information to start something
At all.
at all. You know what I mean? And I
At
think
all,
a lot of
man.
people fear that. A lot of people have that fear, like, oh man, I don't fully understand. You know what? I'm gonna give you guys a secret. And it might hurt me, but it might not. But I'm hoping that it inspires a lot of you guys more than it hurts me, right? But a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about on the Kool spot, I'm learning as I go. If I haven't already
Right.
acquired all the information, but I'm learning as I go. So the Kool spot, if you look at the discussion posts, when I start doing the lectures and different things like that, like I already have a list of things that I'm going to do my study and research on, so I can present it. So, again, you'll know when you'll know the information if you can retain the information and explain it in your own way. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Right.
always my approach when I'm giving information. Now, with the Kool spot, I'm not an expert in none of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, and that's on my website. You know what I mean? That's on my about section in the Kool, on the Kool spot community page on Facebook. I'm not an expert in none of this stuff, man. Like, I have an open mind to learn. I feel like what we are today is what the elders were to what we are today to the youth behind us is what the elders were to us. You know what I'm saying? Back in their time when it came to information. You know what I'm saying? So for me, yeah, we're all obligated to be a leader in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And I'm not going to be born into information that I just innately know off top. No, I have to learn this stuff. And as I'm learning, I'm also applying. And as I see it begin to work, and I see how it becomes vital, then it's like, cool, this is something good to look into. This is something good to apply. This is something to learn so I can go back and share with somebody else to hopefully uplift and inspire so we can all move together. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not an expert, and I'm proud to say that. I'm not an expert at none of this, but I'm open to learn. Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing, man. Like, you say you're not an expert, and so that's a gap within yourself. If there's a certain topic that you're on, or a certain thing that you need, knowing that that's a gap within you, then to look for somebody who can fill that gap, or if it's something that you can learn yourself. Like, I have a note here. It just says, "Yo, find people who are gap fillers."
Right. That's good.
The first thing I knew I needed was a host.
Yeah.
Like, Crystal has been paramount in the success of Inkspired.
Yeah, shout out to Crystal.
Not only because she is the greatest, right? Not only because she's the greatest host that I've ever seen.
Yeah, she's dope.
Biased and unbiased opinion, but she also does a lot of things that have helped the show itself fill in gaps. For instance, it was her idea for us to ride up and have our poets ride up in a limo.
Yeah.
The very first show that didn't happen. I pulled up in the Camry, you know what I'm saying? Park, Gator Ballet, whatever. And it was what it was.
Yeah.
But then after that, she was able to kind of look in and say, okay, well, look, we can add this to our experience for our singers and for our poets. And that'll give a different look for our video intros.
Right.
That'll also give a different experience to the poets. And so when you start finding those people who can fill gaps, then you don't always have to think as hard. All you gotta do is kind of allow them to do their thing. So I think exactly what you said is true. You know, you don't have to be an expert in something, but if you can find somebody who's an expert, or if you can wind up becoming an expert in something, then you're on the right track.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And again, it goes back to what I said in the beginning about Elon Musk. Like, he's not worried about patent protection. He wants to create, you know what I'm saying, an environment where people are forced. If you want to win, then you're forced to become an innovator. You know what I'm saying? And if you want it that bad, this is your only task, is be consistent, or just be the most consistent innovator out there. You know what I'm saying? So that's the objective. That's the objective, man. We have another question. It says, from the start of a business idea until the manifestation of the dream, what's a good time frame? How quickly should you birth your ideas and vision? Good question. You want to take that one, bro? You want to start that off, or what?
Yeah, I'll start that off. I don't think, part of me wants to say I don't think you should have a timeline.
Okay. You respond.
But then the other part of me says right now. You know, like when I was sitting here, and this is something very simple, but when I thought about the Instagram book, I didn't say, okay, you know what, I can do that in August once everything clears back up, or when I have my next show. I picked up my phone. I DM'd a man in London because of technology. And I waited for his answer. And when he said, I went, I screenshot a whole bunch of pictures that I thought would be dope that I could write something from. And then within, I don't know, 2 weeks, I had the entire book written. Now with something that's a little bit bigger, like the Inkspired show, from the time that I actually thought about the show and started planning it to the time that we put out tickets was maybe a month and a half. Crystal would have to correct me. I think I met her at the very beginning of March that year, and we put out tickets in April. So I think the faster you move, the faster you make whatever mistakes you can make, then the faster you can adjust, and then you go along. So for me, I say, throw it at the wall, do what you need to do really quickly, make those mistakes, and then you can adjust, or know if you need to, you know, put it in the garbage can and move on to something else.
And mistakes are necessary. Mistakes are necessary. You will not win if you are afraid of mistakes. You know what I mean? You have to leave room for mistakes. As a matter of fact, the amount of room that you leave for mistake has to be as equal to the amount of room that you want to be successful, if not greater than that. You know what I'm saying? That's how I approach it. Like, I expect to make mistakes when I'm in each venture that I go through. You know, even from me starting off doing blogs with the Kool Spot, and then podcasting. And shout out to Michael Jenkins Jr. You know, he was a big part of the podcasting world, and a lot of this is going to be, you know, everything has grown exponentially because I'm constantly looking for, okay, what could I have done better? What did I do differently? What can I do differently? How could I improve how this looks in presentation? You know what I'm saying? So like, it's okay. You have to leave those rooms for that room for mistake to be able to grow and learn. So mistakes are necessary. Absolutely.
Man, let me give you something on that real quick, man. Quick story. So one of the biggest mistakes I made for the very first show was renting a lot of things that I probably should have bought. I paid 2-3 times more renting it when I could have just bought it. And when Crystal came on and seen what I had did, she was like, "Oh my God, what have you done?"
She hit you with the emoji, man.
Yeah, she knows. So one of the things that I rented for the first 3 shows actually were the stage lights. Now the stage lights that we rented have remotes to them, so you could control them. But the lights that I bought for the very last show that we had back in November, were some lights that my videographer and another really good friend of mine who's like a professional videographer got together, had some discussions, and they were like, yo, you need to get these particular lights. Now they came with a remote that actually turned all 3 lights on and off, raised the brightness, dimmed it, everything all at the same time.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
Now, had I not made the mistakes of renting beforehand and not having my videos look the way that I wanted them to in those first 3 shows. Now, it took me a long time, obviously, but I finally, stepped up, bought those lights. The Stranger Fruit piece that I did in the show where I was hanging.
Yeah.
Well, when I passed out, had we had rented lights that we couldn't control all at one time, there's no way they would have been able to cut the lights off, which would have been devastating for the audience to see me, passed out. But because, right, exactly. Yeah. But because those mistakes had been made prior to, and then the lights were bought, and you got the gap fillers, Crystal and Raynique, who made the decision, because it wasn't my idea, it was their decision, that when I passed out to cut the lights, they did that, and then Amani was able to still continue singing, and most of the audience knew something happened, but they didn't know what happened.
Right.
And then you're able to just hear her singing and really hone in on the rest of the piece. That just goes to those mistakes, and that's an example, a personal example with Inkspired, where mistake, made the same mistake 3 times in a row, and then boom, okay. And it was really big, not only for that, but it's the clearest video I've ever had from stage. Yeah.
Wow, bro. That's powerful. And let me go back one step, because we were talking about the dreams and when to set the goals. Like I started this process last year, like probably November, is when I was just doing all of my brainstorming for the Kool spot. And from like November to like January was tax time, right? So tax time, if you're not making investments, you know what I'm saying? Then you lose, you starting the year off wrong, off top, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So tax time rolled around, and I said, all right, cool, boom, let me go ahead and invest in my equipment, control board, my camera, lights, my microphone, you know what I'm saying? Like a laptop and the tools that I need for the laptop. But all of that sat, bro, for like 2 months. That stuff sat for 2 months without being used. Right. I was, messing around with that stuff to learn it, but it sat for like 2 months without me doing any kind of thing, anything that I could actually promote and gain some attention and traction from. It just sat, but while I was sitting, I was still brainstorming. Okay, what's the next step? What else do I have to do? What, you know what I mean? And I'm an essential worker, so I deliver wine throughout North Carolina. And, I'm typically working 10 to 12 hours a day since the economy's been opening back up. I've been doing 12 to 16s, you know what I'm saying? So because the wine and the alcohol industry is booming, so even in that, me having a full-time job, I still have to make time to come back home, find the energy to invest in this investment, because if I made this investment, but then pretend like I didn't just spend all this money, to do something great and lose my motivation because I'm coming home tired, then I got a problem. This has become a liability.
Invest in your investment. That's good. I got to remember that.
Yes. Invest in your investment, and if you're not doing that, then again, you first have to make that initial investment once you get that lump sum. So for a lot of people, I know a lot of people haven't been working. Some people may be back to work now, thank goodness. But for even the stimulus checks that we're getting, we have to be able to find out how much of this could I take and invest back into what I want for myself to help advance, and bring back into the stockhold. You know what I mean? And those have to be the decisions that we have to make, instead of it just being like, okay, I understand. I have these bills, this bill, that bill, that bill. I had bills too, and the bills won't stop, but I still made some investments. Even if you got to do one thing at a time, like building a wardrobe, one paycheck. Let me spend $30 here and buy a t-shirt, or a shirt or 3 shirts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the next check, let me get $40 and buy me 2 pair of pants. You know what I mean? Using that mentality to approach it. But we have to be able to invest in those investments, man. And it's important. And now I'm here. And this is just the beginning phases. This is only 3 months in, so I'm super excited about this year, man, and making great connects through this as well. So like filling in the gap, forecasting. How do we see it? When do we catch it? Like, are we watching for the changes? We have, again, Kodak was a big thing at one point. Blockbuster was a big thing at one point. Who else did I mention? Xerox was a big thing at one point. You know what I'm saying? Like
Xerox.
Right. So like they're no longer existing. They're non-existent companies now because they didn't forecast properly. You know what I mean? So that's the mindset. That's the mindset, man. That's the mindset. You want to add to that, brother?
I think. Yeah, I think it's big what you were saying, man, as far as investing. And like lights and MacBooks and things of that nature can cost a little bit of money sometimes, but there's also other things that you can do that either are free. Cause I mean, we have YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know how old you are, but I'm 37. When I was 36. Growing up.
Yeah.
Okay. So we grew up at the same time, man. I remember getting the first cordless phone in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like the technology is at a place where I never in a million years thought that it would be. And so there's millions of things that you can look up on YouTube. I know one of the things that I invested in during the COVID time is masterclass.com. Masterclass.com. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but they have a lot of different masterclasses up there from a lot of the leading professionals in their field in the world. And so me and one of my friends went half and half on it. They had a special buy one, get one. So boom, $90. You can find $90, in your couch somewhere.
Right.
Old Coke last winter. Right. So boom, we went ahead. I got that. And one of the classes I'm taking right now is an actor's class that's done by Samuel Jackson.
Nice.
And so I was telling one of my friends about it, and she was like, well, so are you going to start doing your own stuff? I'm like, nah. She's like, well, why are you taking an acting class? And I'm like, because I need to know what the people on stage that I'm writing for, how their process works, what they think about.
Right.
And so just those little things like that, where you can invest your time and maybe a little bit of money, if not a lot of money, go a long, long way in bringing to fruition whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it, man. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. So Inkspired, we're coming to a close. We're at that hour mark now. But Inkspired, man.
Okay.
What could we expect from Inkspired in the near future? What matter of fact, from Curtis, from SP to writer. Let's just go from a broader perspective, from SP to writer. The business entity. What could we expect from SP to writer?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to be doing some more chat books. Like I said, the engagement on that was actually surpassed what I was expecting. So I will be doing more long form chat books. And when I say long form, anywhere from 25 to 30 poems. I already started the next one with an artist called Artist Ria. She's artist_Ria, RIA.
Nice.
On Instagram. I'm also going to be doing what I call the Lens series, where I'll be working with some photographers on Instagram, and I'll do maybe 10 of their photos and write some stuff too. So I'll continue to do that. My book Inkspired will be coming out in 2021, as long as the world is working. There's a certain way I want to actually release that book, and so that's in the works. We do have a date for the next Inkspired show. I'm not going to put it out right now, but pending everything that's going on, we're hoping that there will be an Inkspired show this year, and that's going to be pretty dope. Outside of that, man, it's really just like you said, forecasting. There's some things that I have in the works, some things that I've been thinking on, especially with the world going the way that it is, that may be beneficial to do sooner than later. And so it's gonna be real dope, man. The show itself is going to be kind of expanded. We're going to add some things to that. So it's gonna be real dope coming soon. So books, more shows, and a little bit of twist to a couple more things as well coming up.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you, man. I don't think I asked you this question, but when you're writing, do you get away? Like, some people I have to ask this question because you're a writer. Like, you're a silent poet, so
Okay.
you're a writer that actually writes and takes time and takes a lot of pride into your writing. So when you're writing, do you get away? Like, some people may go to the mountains, some people may go to the beach or to a quiet lake somewhere where it's soothing and it's calm. What do you do? What's your, like, where do you go? Or is there a place to go? Or do you just kind of find anywhere to write?
So if I'm writing shorter poems like I did for the chapbook, I can pretty much do those anywhere. At home, in the car, like, it really doesn't matter. Those are a lot easier.
Yeah.
But what I have found is that when I'm writing my shows, because those are longer form, I do like to get away. Typically, I'll go outside of Chicago. That's my favorite. Like, Chicago is my favorite city.
Gotcha.
And so I'll go out there. I do clinical trials sometimes, so I'm able to make money while I'm sitting and writing. So I'll go do one of those. I might go to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
The one show that I did not leave for to go write was the Queen's Edition show that we did, which was just a year ago this month.
Right.
And that particular show did a good job. It was decent.
Yeah.
The performers really made the work what it was. And so Crystal, she kind of told me a couple of weeks after the show, she was like, that wasn't your best work.
Crystal, the homie. Crystal, she gonna keep it real.
She definitely knows to keep it real with me. She was like, that wasn't your best work. I'm like, what you mean? Like, it was dope.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, the performers, really brought it up, but that's not your best writing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay. I was like, all right. So I went ahead and made sure that next show coming up, which was the November show, that I got away, and I put my foot in that one, if I do say so myself. So I do like to get away to write performances for the shows, because that's different for me.
Yeah.
But if I'm writing a book or writing shorter poems, something that's just a few sentences to a couple paragraphs, I can do that anywhere.
Yeah. That's phenomenal, man. That's phenomenal. What we're saying here, it says, as Peter writer is busy, what to expect larger chat books coming, Inkspired book 2021, and an Inkspired show coming soon. Always awesome. There you guys have it, man. And I'm here with SP, the silent poet, Curtis Hill Jr., and you guys get to know him first, you know what I mean, before you judge the work or look at the works. He's doing phenomenal works, and then judge them. Either way, they're still phenomenal, right? So
right.
So yeah. So but if you guys have not yet done so, please go back and follow the Kool Spot community page. In fact, we had a slight glitch earlier from my personal page, and we had to switch over to the Kool Spot community page to get this live to you guys on Facebook. If you guys have not yet signed up, please sign up to the Kool Spot page on Facebook. Sign up on the actual website, the Kool Spot website at www.thekoolspot.com. Become a member, get these updates. Always sharing, always, I'm putting together blogs. I'm doing forum posts for community engagements from the website. Also discussion posts on Facebook. Starting next month, I will begin to cut back from doing these lives from a weekly base to a bi-weekly. I do have 3 set up for next month, actually 2 that's confirmed. I have the debate June 13th, and I also have myself will be the following week, and we have one more that I believe we're still confirming. So at the end of the month. But after that, in July, I need more time to get to doing lectures. I also have another business idea for promotions that I want to do. I do logos for all you guys that don't know. I do logos, and I'm looking to launch that here soon. I'm doing a lot, man, doing a lot. So please be on the lookout. Know that we're making adjustments. My partner Free, which is with all these words you guys see flashing on the screen, that's her working her magic behind the scenes. Shout out to Sharita Freeman, Free the Poet, Peace Queen. I appreciate all the hard work. But she got on me about my timing and my scheduling because work has been kind of hectic and I'm just kind of making things happen and being burnt out at the end of the day. So we came up with the executive decision to just kind of cut back on doing these lives from a weekly to a bi-weekly base, and to give me more time to restructure and reformat so I can get more done. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, man,
adjustments. That's all.
Adjustments. Yeah. See, we got to make those mistakes. Sometimes you got to jump in there. Look, because I'm like this. When I get excited, I got a lot to give with my excitement, right? So in my excitement, I'm just looking to go all in and like, yo, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna boom, 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 boom. And then before you know it, I'm like this right here, sitting in the daggone work truck. I'm dog tired, burnt out. You know what I mean? So, but no, we have to go in and go through our own process to learn how we are to moving forward. You know, so and that's okay. That's totally okay. Totally okay. As long as you have people that you're working with that can help guide that process for you and with you, then you're in a good place. You're in a good place. Better than doing nothing at all, you know?
Indeed.
Absolutely. So with that being said, we want to thank you guys. SP, you have any other links or anything else you want to share? You have a message you want to share to the people before we close out, or anything you want to share to close out, brother?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, SP the Writer. No underscores, no periods, none of that crazy stuff. Website, spthewriter.com. You can also join the text list by texting SP to 855-227-1208. It's been up on the screen the entire time. As far as closing remarks, man, I just think that it's important that you understand that what you have is needed. Yeah. You know, I think everybody has some sort of gift to give. And once you tap into that, I think it can become a beautiful thing. And then if you're actually filling gaps, as we've been talking about today, within whatever your gift is, then it becomes really phenomenal. So I implore everybody to kind of tap into what they really have to give that, and find those gaps and do it a little bit better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to everybody that was tuned in. Shout out to the other half of Inkspired, Crystal, Argentine.
Yeah, buddy.
Shout out, homie. I see you. Good stuff too, man. You guys are working. I appreciate it, man. I'm inspired. I'm Inkspired.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you having me on, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. So that's our time. We've been on here for about a little over an hour. Hopefully you guys are left being inspired, or feeling uplifted. I hope you guys is ready to go, man. Remember, this year is going by really, really quickly. And if you're not sowing those seeds or planting those seeds now, December's coming around quick. July is right around the corner. From July, we're going to see August. From August, we're skipping all the way to November and December. Before you know it, you're looking like, whoa, what did the year go? What did I get done? Right. What could I have done? Well, you remember, what was it, May 23rd, 2020 at 4 p.m. on the Kool spot? Me and Curtis Hill, SP the Silent Poet, we talked about filling those gaps and forecasting. It's on you from this point on. You know what I'm saying? So definitely take heed, man, and we appreciate all the love and support. Thank you guys for everything. We love y'all. Y'all have a good evening. All right? Peace.
All right.